Hello everyone, this is math lesson 4.4. We are on the back side of what we did last time. You need a red and lime green. And I know this is a lot to set your journal up for, but you can do this. So you're going to push pause on the video and get it to set up all the way to number 3. There actually is more than that, but you're just going to set it up until number 3 and then resume the video. So today we're talking about multiply using place value rows and expanded notation. So 2 different methods for using double digit multiplication or higher. So place value rows. The first thing we're going to do is draw one tall, skinny rectangle. So let's go ahead and do that. You should have already written these. If you didn't, you need to push pause again. So draw one long, skinny rectangle. So there's my rectangle. I'm going to outline it in this. Whoops, I thought that was red. It's violet red. I need actual red for this part. So outline it in actual red. Yep, this one is red. You see that difference? I don't know if you can tell in the video, but I can tell. Okay, so I drew one tall, skinny rectangle. Step 2. Write the first number on the top. Well, we can't do this until we know what it is we're doing. So let's try 78 times 26. Let's put that in a cloud. 78 times 26. So we drew the tall, skinny rectangle. Write the first number, 78, on the top. So just the whole number, 78. You don't break it up this time. Step number 3. Break up the second number, which is 26, on the left and split the rectangle across. So we break up this number like we knew how to do last time, 20 and 6, 20 and 6, and split the rectangle across. So I split it like that. I didn't split it right in the middle because, again, you're going to be doing the area and finding a bigger number here and a smaller number there. So that's why I did this one not quite in the middle. So I kept the first number, I broke up the second number, and now you're ready for steps 4 and 5. So I'm going to slide my journal down, and you're going to write steps 4 and 5. Step number 4 says, multiply the top number by the tens, then the ones of the other number, finding the area of each rectangle still. And then step number 5 says, add the partial products to get the final answer. So push pause on the video until you get steps 4 and 5 written. So for step 4, we multiply the top number by the tens, then the ones. So you're going to be doing this number, 78, times the tens, which was 20, and then do 78 times 6. So you're just finding the area of each rectangle. You're finding the area of the top rectangle and then the area of the bottom rectangle. Okay? So let's find this area. Let's color this one green. Let's find the area of this green rectangle. To find the area, you do length times width, or you can use your fingers and slide them across the shape until they run into each other. So here's 20 and here's 78. If I were to bring my fingers like this, they're going to collide. So this one is 78 times 20. What's really cool about doing a number that ends in a 0 is you can just take care of the 0 right now. You can just do 78 times 2 and then add a 0 to your answer. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put my 0 in the answer right now, and then I'm going to cover up the 0 and just do the 2. 2 times 8 is 56, so I drop the 6 and carry the 5. Drop the 6, carry the 5. So I did 2 times 8, and now I'm doing 2 times 7. That's 14 plus 5 is 19. So I drop the 9 and carry the 1, but there's nowhere to carry the 1, so I just put it in the answer. So 78 times 2 was 196, but it wasn't just times 2, it was by 20. So you just put that 0 at the end. It's pretty awesome. So one of my partial products is 1960. Or 1,960. And now, so that was me multiplying the top number by the tens. Now I need to multiply the top number by the ones. So now I do 78 times 6. 78 times 6. 6 times 8 is 48. Drop the 8, carry the 4. That's 42. Plus 4 more is 46. So 468 is the white rectangle. And step number 5 says, add the partial products to get the final answer. So my partial products are 1,000, write it off to the side, 960, and I'm adding 468 to that to get my final answer. 0 plus 8 is 8. Add those together. You should get a final product of 2,428. That's my final product. So it's pretty easy. It's very similar to place value sections. You just aren't breaking up this second number. So there's not as much mental math happening. This one's mental math because you just add the 0, but you still have to do that number times the number in the tens place. So it's pretty interesting. Let's try another one right underneath this. So step number 1, draw a long, skinny rectangle. This time I'm going to make it green. You have to know what the problem is in order to split numbers up. So let's do 39 times, actually, let's see, I'll look on your assignment. You're welcome for that. Let's do 93 times 42. So this problem is going to be, I'm just going to write it over here, 93 times 42. That's what this is. I'm going to actually go back and color that other number up here, the 78 times 26. I'm going to color that in red as well. Okay, so we're coming back down here to the 93 times 42. You take the first number and you write it across the top. So I just keep 93. You take the second number and you break it up into the tens and ones. So it's 40, then 2. 40, then 2. Then you break the rectangle into 2 separate rectangles and go ahead and find the area of this light green rectangle, or use your fingers and multiply those two things together. So put this number on top times by the side number. So 93 times 40. This is part mental math because you can cover the 0 and do 93 times 4 and then just put a 0 on your answer. So I always just come right here and I take care of the 0 and then I cover it up. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12, so you drop the 2 and carry the 1. And then 4 times 9 is 36, plus the 1 is 37. There's nowhere to carry the 3, so you put it right there. So the first partial product is 3,720. Then I find the area of this one. Let's color this one red for fun. You can see that there's 2 different rectangles. There was 2 as well above, but we didn't color it. It's okay. So keep the top number, and now times it by the ones, which was 2. 93 times 2 is 186. So I have 2 partial products. I add those together. 3720 plus 186. Make sure your numbers are lined up in the right place value. So add the ones, add the tens, add the hundreds, and add the thousands. Your final answer should be 3,906. So again, it's just a different way to do multiplication. Instead of it being whole sections, like 4 little sections, it's just place value rows because we have 1 row and another row, 2 rows. Remember, rows go left to right, so 1 row, 2 rows. You ready to try one more of these on the bottom, and then we'll learn expanded notation. So on the bottom, let's do another one. We're going to draw a long, skinny rectangle. I'm going to make this one red. I went all the way to the bottom on that. Okay, the next one we're going to do is, let's do 76 times 71. Put that in a cloud. And color that cloud red, just the outline. Okay, the rule is keep the first number. Break up the second number. Break the rectangle into two rows. So you have this row and that row. You always are going to start with the top number when you're doing the multiplication. This one's always going to have a 0 at the end, so that's going to always be something you can do. And then you multiply those together. 7 times 6 is 42, so you drop the 2 and carry the 4. So now I'm going straight up. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 4 is 53, right? 49 plus 4, 53. So you drop the 3. There's nowhere to carry that 5 because we're done with numbers, so this is right there. 5,320. And now this one's really easy. 76 times 1, you don't even have to show me that. It's just 76. So add your partial products together. You have 5, 3, 2, 0, and 76. 5,396 is your final answer. So place value rows can be really quick. As long as you're doing them correctly and you've split them into the right amount of rows, you're going to be just fine. Follow the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 if you have questions on place value rows. But what we're going to do now is turn the page and learn about expanded notation. So turn your journal to the next page, and it's going to look like a brand new journal entry. And we're just going to write expanded notation across the top. And I'm going to write expanded in cursive. So you should do the same. Then I'm going to write in capital letters. Expanded notation. All I'm doing while you get caught up is going over it in red. And then I'm going to do these in green. Notice that we're picking these Christmas colors. Okay, so what we're learning on this is how to take another method of multiplication and use it and see which method we like best. So for expanded notation, what you have to do is you have to know how to break up both the numbers, which we already know how to do that because we've done place value sections. Remember, place value rows only split up one of the numbers. Place value sections split up both of them. So expanded notation is like place value sections where you're going to split up both numbers. So the steps for expanded notation, let's go ahead and write them right here. Step number 1. I love step number 1. It's so much mental math on expanded notation. The very first thing you're going to do is split up both numbers into their place values. So again, the first step is to split up both numbers into their place values. Let me show you what that's going to look like. So if we were going to do 93 times 52, okay, let's say that that's the problem. So we're going to do 93 times 52. keep it green. I'm going to split both of these numbers up into their place values. So I always think of this as just writing the number down how you hear it. So when I hear the number 93, I hear 90, then I hear 3, 93. So I go like this. 90 is the tens, so you're going to write tens, and then 3 is the ones. Okay, let's go ahead and do our 93 in red. So I'm showing you, here is the 90, and here is the 3. You are going to love this. I love expanded notation. I'm excited for you to find out what to do next. The next thing, we're going to do this one green, but use pencil first. You do the same thing. You split up that number into their place values. So here's the tens, here's the ones. So now I take 52. Remember, you just do what it sounds like. 52. So I write 52. Is the 50 in the same place as the tens where it should be? Yes. And the 2 is also in the same place. So I'm going to erase where I put tens and ones, because you can put these at the top as like headers if you want, but I like to just write them here in the middle. I should have written that more in the middle to begin with. My bad. So tens and ones. Okay, so that's step number 1. You split up both numbers into their place values. All right, step number 2. Make this one red. Step number 2. Ready for this? You're going to, you start in the top left. Actually, it doesn't matter where you start. I just think it's smarter to start in the top left. So you're going to go from top left. So that would be 90 because it's in the top left corner. And you go down. And you multiply. Each time you're going to do this, you're going to multiply. So you go from the top left and you multiply. Then you go back to the top left, so back to 90, and then you go this direction and you multiply again. So let me explain that. So we went straight down. This was the other number in the tens, and this was the number in the ones. Okay, so let's kind of come back to our original problem here. 93 and 52. So we go to the top left number, which is 90, and we go straight down into the tens. So we go like this. I'm just going to use my red. Straight down. What is 90 times 50? This is going to be mental math. 9 times 5 is 45 with 2 zeros. So it's 4,500. Okay, so we did top left, we multiplied it by the tens. Go back to the top left, and now go down and multiply it by those ones. So you go like this. It's a little bit longer of an arrow. And you do 90 times 2. 90 times 2, well 9 times 2 is 18, and then I have a 0, so it's 180. Watch how I write my 180. I'm stacking them up right now in the right place values. So I kept the ones and the ones, like when you look at the numbers, those are ones, those are tens, and so on and so forth. So you take the top number, the top left, and you go straight down, and then you go back to the top left, and you go diagonally down and across. Okay? So you're going to go down both times. Okay, so now I've taken care of the 90. Everyone good with that? Okay, so what I do next is I look at, so basically everything on the top has to be multiplied by everything on the bottom, and everything on the bottom has to be multiplied by everything on the top. But 90 will never be multiplied by 3 because 90 and 3 is just the number, 93. Make sense? Okay, so we did 90 times 50 and 90 times 2. You ready for this? And now we're going to do, let's see, what's the next thing we could do? We could do let's do, it actually doesn't matter where we start, so I am just going to start with this one. I'm going to start with 50 this time. Okay? If I start with 50, I've already done 50 times 90. But have I done 50 times 3? Nope, I haven't. So I still have to do 50 times 3. So you start in the top left and you go down, you go back to the top left and you go across. Now step number 3, you're going to go to the top right number. So think about in our problem which number is in the top right. It's the 3, the top right, and you're going to go down and you're going to multiply. Think about it. You're going to multiply what's in the ones because that's what's straight down from it. And then you're going to go back to the top right and you're going to go this direction. We're going to use our green arrows for this. So this direction. And you're multiplying then what is in the tens place. So again, let's do that. I know this can be a little confusing as we go through it, but you'll catch on pretty quickly. So let's start in the top right. And let's go straight down. And you multiply that. What is 3 times 2? Look where I'm stacking it. I'm stacking them all right here. That's pretty simple. 3 times 2 is 6. The 6 goes in the ones place, so keep all of your numbers nice and organized. Okay, so I did 3 times 2. Now I go top right, and I'm going to go diagonally over. So I have to go this direction. See how I'm making this really cool thing in the middle? 3 times 50. Well, 3 times 5 is 15, and then I have a 0. So it's 150. So I have 4,500, 180, 6, and 150. What do you think I do to all of those? Yeah, I'm going to add them together. So this is step number 4. Add the partial products to get your final answer. I'll say it again. Add the partial products to get the final answer. Okay, so I come back to where they're all stacked up and I add them together. I'm going to put the plus sign over here, even though we don't normally put the plus sign on the right, we put it on the left. It just doesn't fit right there. So that just makes sense to me. So I start in the ones place and I add the ones column. There are a bunch of zeros and then this 6. So it's a 6. The next column, I'm in the tens. I have a 0, 8, nothing, and 5. So 8 plus 5 is 13. Carry the 1. Be careful that you carry it into the right place. It's the hundreds now. So I have 1, 5, 1, and 1. So that's 6, 7, 8. So there's an 8. And then I move to the thousands, and it's 4. So your final answer should be 4,836. Final answer. Pretty awesome, huh? How that works out. I'm going to come over here to where I was stacking all my numbers, and I'm going to write a little bracket. So it's calling a brace or a bracket. I'm going to draw that right here. And then I'm going to write on the side, which means I am going to, I'm not going to flip my journal. I actually can fit it right here. So this is going to be really important, and it's part of steps numbers 2 and 3. They go together. But as we were doing the multiplication, we were being very cautious about lining up our numbers in the right places. So that's going to be important to remember. So as you find each partial product, comma. As you find each partial product, make sure to line them up in the correct place values. So again, it says, as you find each partial product, make sure to line them up in the correct place values. That's going to be really important. Let's try another one down here in this open space. Make sure you have all of the writing and all of the steps, and we're going to do another problem. In fact, let's do one that we had done before. I think that would be interesting. So let's do 78 times 26. So we're going to come right here in this open space. And the new problem we're going to have, I'm just going to write it, well, yeah, I'm just going to write it down here. So the problem we're going to do here, what was it? 78 times, I don't remember. I have to look. We're doing 78 times 26. 78 times 26. Put that in a cloud. And we're just going to keep it green again. So we're doing expanded notation. So step 1, split up both numbers into their place values. Look, how did I know that was step 1? Because it says it right there. So split up both of these numbers. 78 and 26. So you go like this. I'm just going to write them up here. 78 and 26. And I'm going to write these are the 10s, these are the 1s. Okay, 78 and 26. So 78 is red, 26 is green. Step number 2 says start in the top left and multiply straight down. So you're going to multiply the 10s. So you start with 70 and you're going to go straight down. And you're just going to write it all off to the side right here. What is 70 times 20? Well, 7 times 2 is 14 with 2 zeros. I would really space your numbers out here because you're going to have to be lining things up underneath them. So space your numbers out. Make sure there's a comma where it says 1,000. Okay, so I did top left. Now I go back to the top left and I go diagonally across over into those 1s down there. So I go from this 7 down into here. So I take the top number and multiply it down, then diagonally down. 70 times 6 equals a 42 with a 0. So those numbers line up like that. Then I go to the top right. How did I know that? It tells me to. So I go top right and I go straight down. Okay, straight down. 8 times 6 is 48. So I write that. And then the last thing I do is go to the top right and go diagonal. So you start on the top and you're going to multiply down and then across. Down and then diagonal. I don't mean across, I mean diagonally down. Across means something different, so be careful. So the last one is 8 times 20. 8 times 2 is 16 with a 0. So would look like that. 16 with a 0. So I do have space to put my plus sign on the left. So I'm just going to put that with the red. Make sure you know you add these partial products. And then I'm just going to put my final answer over here in a circle because I'm out of space at the bottom of my journal. So you could do the same thing. Unless you have space. If you have space, then write it there. If it's a tiny space like mine, just be responsible and draw a circle up here. It's not hard. Okay, so let's add the ones column. 0, 0, 8, and 0 gives me an 8 in the ones place. Add the tens. 0, 2, 4, and 6. Well, 2 plus 4 is 6, plus another 6 is 12. So you drop the 2, carry the 1 into the hundreds. So we've taken care of the ones and the tens, so I can put my finger there. Now we're in the hundreds. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus this one down here is 9, plus the other little one you carried is 10. So you drop a 0 and carry the 1. And now you're into the thousands. The only number in the thousands was this one. So it's 1 and then the 1 you carried. So 1 and 1 make 2. 2028 should be your final answer. Let me just double check that. I don't think that is supposed to be the final answer. 6 plus 6 is 12. Oh, you're hearing different things on my answering machine. That's fun. Okay, let me show you kind of where I'm at and see if you can help me figure this out. So we have a different answer for 78 times 26. We have 2028. And then over here, when we did 78 times 26, we have 2,428. So something happened. And just now I'm figuring that out. So you're going to go on this little adventure with me to try and figure out which one was incorrect. I'm going to actually do that in the next video since we're kind of running long on this video. So on the next video, see if you can find, well, before the next video, sorry, see if you can find which one has the error. Is it the one where we did place value rows or the one where we did expanded notation? And if you're not sure, do the standard algorithm with 78 times 26 and see which one of these has the error. Catch you in the next video. It's going to be fun. Go figure it out.